Guess whose brother I saw today? I saw your brother. I saw your brother today.
I haven't seen you today.
I did.
Were you missing something?
Technically, yes, but we're good to go.
Okay.
Are we on?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, we're on. Okay, we can call this meeting to order at 6:32, the January meeting of the Cobb Area Council. Oh, what do we do first? We do roll call.
Yes. And I'll make a note ahead of time that we did have 2 members that were reappointed by the county before I take roll call, so everyone is official. Kathy McCarthy.
Here.
Jake Strickler.
Here.
Chris Nettles.
Here.
Darlene Warner. I am here. Joe Schneider, absent, and Paul Duncan, our new alternate, is in Southern California assisting with the wildfires. So that's why he's absent. So we do have a quorum, and do I need to do the first and then pledge?
Yeah, let's do that. Do you want to say the words, or do you want me to say the words? I'll say the words. Just in before we say our Pledge of Allegiance, we thought we'd do a moment of silence in memory of those who lost their lives in the fires in Los Angeles, and in solidarity with our new expanded family of communities that have suffered this kind of loss. Thank you. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we could approve our agenda.
Move to approve the January 16th agenda.
Thank you, Chris.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Darlene. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. And our expertly drafted minutes from December.
I don't know if they're that expertly this time with Christmas and everything else in between, so.
Like I said, please don't ever make me be the secretary is all I'm saying.
Move to approve the December 19th minutes. December 19th, 2024.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay,
Thank you,
Elliot.
Elliot. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have minutes.
And if there's any corrections, I can read this.
Yeah. Well, they should have said so by now.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta read them real quick.
Okay. I know.
Forever hold your peace.
Yeah.
Right.
We could always go back and amend if needed.
Well, we can.
Okay, it is in our bylaws that in the January of each year, the CAC Board of Directors will hold a roll call election from its regular members to select the chairperson, vice chairperson, secretary, and treasurer. And that is what we will do now.
Do we want to go in that order?
Okay.
Well, I'd like to nominate Kathy McCarthy as our chairperson.
Who's second? Steve Reed.
Thank you. Anybody else want to be chair? I would be honored to continue in that role.
All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Any opposed?
Did you say you were opposed?
All right, and then we have, I guess that's done. Okay, I nominate Jake Strickler to be our vice chair.
I'll second that.
Do you accept?
I accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
I guess we should take any other nominations.
Oh, yeah. Are there any other nominees? Okay. Sorry, too late.
Yeah, no.
No. Okay, I nominate Darlene to be secretary. I don't know if I can nominate her.
I'll second that as well.
I I accept the nomination.
And are there any other nominations or self-nominations? Okay, then all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Yay, thank you, Darlene. And I absolutely nominate Chris Nettles as treasurer.
I don't know.
Oh, you're getting us nervous here.
Yes, I'll accept the nomination.
We could nominate Joe, he's not here to say no. No. All right, all in favor of Chris as treasurer? Any
Aye.
opposed? All right, thank you, Chris. All right, that business is done. Are there any announcements, the short announcements, or the 3-minute public and board comment on a non-agenda item? It's a very blurry line between the two.
Okay, how's that?
Good. Robert
Beautiful.
Stark.
So here's a story. I'm Robert Stark. I'm the president of the Mountain Lions Club. And just a couple of things. On the 8th of February, the Northern California Frisbee Association will be having their tournament at the, whatever the golf course is called now.
Belmont,
Belmont Pines. I'm just
Yeah.
teasing.
Pines? Just teasing, okay.
So that'll be happening, so that's of interest, and that is a fundraiser for the Lions Club. They give all of the profits that they make to us, and that's a nice deal. And we didn't know, they had canceled it for this year because 6 months ago, the weeds were up to your waist, and they were gonna move to Highland Springs and do it there, but then Bo bought the place, and we all lived happily ever after. The following thing is the Cobb Elementary School PTO and the Mountain Lions Club will be having a combined St. Patrick's Day dinner on the 15th of February. March, excuse me. Okay, I put it in the wrong slot. Anyway, you heard what I said. 15th of March, St. Patrick's Day, all the usual fare, cabbage,
Potatoes, carrots,
that meat thing that they have,
corned beef.
whatever that is,
Called
corned beef.
Yeah.
And then, of course, on March 1st is the crab feed. So we'll have 125 tickets, and we will try to sell them all. And the crab is ordered. It will be from Alaska, as it is normally, because it's far more consistent. There we buy 650 pounds, and after it's cooked, cleaned, and cut in half, we get 300 pounds back. So that $8 a pound raw ultimately costs us $16 a pound by the time we're through.
Wow, yeah.
So please feel free. There's always a good raffle. And everything will be here for everybody to enjoy. And hopefully the new floor will get covered with debris and crab shells, and we'll all live happily ever after. So if there's
Yes.
any questions
Is there a
about
ticket price? Ticket price?
the date,
The price.
Ticket price.
oh, $75. We're holding it at 75, and as a crab feed, bear in mind the other agencies and fraternal organizations are having a dinner, and that's a lot different than a feed. You get your crab, you get your shrimp, and you get your potatoes and bread, and that's what you get. Here, we go until we run out. And we usually run out. But anyway, and we all enjoyed the earthquake. I have to say, it was quite enjoyable. I was hoping Calpine's geophysicist would come here and tell us about that tonight, but I guess that's
We're working on that for a
a
future date.
flyer.
We-
They did say that it was a fault, not a geothermal related, but at 1.1 kilometers down, that's not where the faults generally lie. They're normally about 6 miles down. So there is that aspect of it. And the single most interesting thing, I don't know, Michael Slay's mother's trailer came off the foundation. Sharon Matzinger's crystal all broke on the countertop. And all the beer taps at the Roadhouse turned on.
We were in the wrong place.
The building went towards Loch Lomond Road, and all those big heavy tappers stayed where they were. Well, the building moved to the side, and they were all running.
No.
So, yeah, well, yes, it was on Glenbrook Road, which is right on the boundary of the geothermal resource area that's charted out, by the county. So it was right there, about 1,000 feet from my house, give or take. So, okay, thank you.
Next agenda item?
Yeah, I was just gonna do a little follow-up on that.
Oh,
Here we go. I have been in contact with Danielle from Calpine to have someone come in and speak to us a little bit about how earthquakes and the geysers are related, and then she wanted to share about the fact that there is a seismic monitoring advisory committee, much like this committee, and guess who's on that committee? Robert Stark. Robert, how often do you guys meet?
We meet every 6 months.
6 months.
And geothermal-related earthquakes, in the last meeting, which was in November, there were 636 geothermal-related earthquakes in the 6-month period. Just about between 1,000 and 1,200 a year. The vast majority are 1s and 1.2s.
Yeah.
There was, in July, there was 4.2. That was generated from adding cold water to hot water. And in that case, they were injecting in 4 locations at the same time in a square, and that created overcooling and heating, and that created 4.2.
Wow.
So when the USGS posted that, they said 9 kilometers, that's 6 miles. That's what's a real earthquake, because that's where the real faults are. But there are a lot of faults around here.
Yeah.
All the way up from Middletown up to Highway, and then all the way out to Bottle Rock is the Calione Fault. And then when they were going to build Unit 21, they were going to put a well right behind the firehouse up on the hill where that rock ledge is.
Thank you.
They do an excellent job of monitoring.
Mhm.
Help, I give them credit.
One thing that I noted, I saw a news item that Calpine is being sold to Constellation Energy.
Sounds like this could be another agenda item.
Yeah, I was just thinking
Yeah.
it could get there. Yeah.
Yeah, we should get them here if we
Yeah.
can.
So we're working on, I am working with Danielle to have her come and, or someone come. And she's been very friendly about it. And, so, but meanwhile, you could pump Robert for information every day at the coffee shop. Thank you, Robert. Okay, any other public or board comment on non-agenda items? Okay. Let's do a supervisor's report. Jessica Pyska.
I don't have a lot of updates from December, so we came off the holiday, but I want to thank you guys for signing up for another term and getting your applications in on time. Good job. And Happy New Year, everybody. So we have Chief Duncan, like we mentioned, in Southern California. We also have Chief Huggins from Kelseyville, Chief Cepeda from Clear Lake, Chief Wink, and a lot of our local crews from Lakeport. Yeah, LNU units. There's a lot of local people down there right now, so checking in with them. Morale it's tough. It's a tough situation. For me, I just can't even fathom the scope and scale of it. We know what we've been through, and to just magnify and multiply that on a level that we can't really comprehend is just truly incredible. So I know we're all thinking about them, but crews, it's been a really, really tough week and a half for the crews. So just keep them in your hearts, and I check in with them as much as I can. But Lars is going to come next month and give us some initial plans for the park. That's very exciting. Yeah. He thinks it'll probably be summer before the construction plans are done. So, but I really begged him to come in. Good. Give us at least an update on what's going on. One of the things that I think is really important, or two things, a lot of what's in the park came out of visioning and a lot of conversations that we've had together. But two things that I've asked him to put in, and we've heard it over and over here, is a place for a Christmas tree. So we can have those annual gatherings that everybody just really wants here. Yeah. Every year it kind of moves around and it looks a little different, but a permanent place for us to have a Christmas tree. And then also, we've been talking for a long time about having a memorial for the lives that were lost in the Valley Fire. So looking for a little quiet, secluded place in our park where we can remember them.
Jessica, would you repeat just that last thing about the memorial?
For the people that died in the Valley Fire. Yeah. It won't be finished by the time we have our 10-year anniversary. So I don't want to have that expectation out there, but I do want you to know that it's something that a lot of people have been thinking about, and there is a plan in place. I've given that direction, but I would hope that, I think the community wants it too. We've heard it enough. So he's going to try and squeak those things in too. Great.
Excellent.
At this point in the development, it's pretty easy. There's a lot of flexibility for those two requests. And Elliot and Magdalena were with us last Friday for the second full day event of our pair planning, which I cannot even remember what that acronym stands for, but essentially strategic planning for the Fire Safe Council and the Lake County Fire Safe Council, correct. And so just going back in time, 10 years and then 4 years, we really didn't have a Fire Safe Council. We had one in name, and that was about it. And so, and the Resource Conservation District also was very skeletal, basically in name only. There was a board, but there was no capacity, there was no staff, there was no funding. So that's what I spent my whole first term working on, is how do we get those organizations up and standing on their feet and fully funded so that we can increase capacity. Happy to say the Resource Conservation District is fully staffed right now. It has an executive director who also is splitting her time as being executive director of the Fire Safe Council. And the Fire Safe Council is a part of the Resource Conservation District. Lots of staff, lots of things happening. So it's great. We have our CWPP updated. We have staff for Fire Safe Council and RCD. We have our priority projects. But when we look at all the partners that we have around the county, we have clerk, we have Firewise communities, we have SSCRA, we have other fire safe councils. How do we organize together and make sure that we have a really solid collaboration so that we can effectively implement the priority projects that have already been identified with the update of the CWPP? So that was another long day, but I feel really, really excited that everyone in this room that's been part of this work for a long time is really tenacious, keeping those goals in sight through all the ups and downs and curves and everything else that's happened over the years to make sure that we have these systems in place. Because it's not just making sure that we're implementing those projects, it's the maintenance, it's the community awareness, it's the education, it's all of those pieces that we know take a lot of time and energy and commitment. So.
And money.
And money. Yes. And now we have the Resource Conservation District staffed up, writing grants. And, I've funded a lot of that grant writing with my cannabis money, because that's how you grow little dollars into millions of dollars. So it's really exciting to see all these things happening. So thanks to Magdalena and Elliot and all of you for just maintaining this commitment. And I know there's probably going to be more updates when Magdalena gives her and Elliot gives their updates. So that's what I have. Just wondering if any questions. Right. So not next week, in 2 weeks, we're having our governance meeting. So that means every department head is going to share out their priorities for the year. The board will give the direction. And I did talk to Glenn about when he's going to publicize the bids being awarded and have a better schedule. So once we get past the governance workshop, which all the department heads are preparing for, then he's going to come back with that. So he's, that guy is really good at his job and ready to go. So I'm really excited. Maybe we can have him back after Lars comes and we can just maybe March or something talk about what the schedule is. I know he wants to start in May as soon as he possibly can, but I have not gotten more of an update than that, other than please tell me what your schedule is for the summer so that we can let everybody know what and when. And where they're going to start. Yeah. Because it's going to be big. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a big project. So it's very, very exciting.
We already know who's going to be last. Because the water department was announcing, Ben announced good news about the Starview Loop is going to be updated all the way down to the Alpine Meadows. They're going to get new water mains.
Excellent.
Which is
Fantastic.
great, and that only relates that we won't get new roads over there until all that work is done. But he's going to work on it. They're supposed to be starting to work on it this summer.
This summer. But that also means you get hydrants.
We have,
I mean,
my side has hydrants.
Everybody gets their hydrants.
Everybody will have hydrants.
Everybody will
Great.
have hydrants.
And
yeah.
good water.
And good water. I know, it's incredible. Water company's been working on that for a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, we're not gonna do the roads until
That work is
that's
done.
done.
That's,
You know what? I do know that Glenn is meeting with PG&E monthly, and I haven't got an update from him recently, but I will ask him. Yeah,
And then we need to make sure that my little road gets added to the.
I know. I'm trying. I'm trying.
I'll be there for the change order.
Okay. I will. I am trying on that one, Darlene. It depends on the condition of the road. If most of the roads up here are reconstruction, like full reconstruction, because of how terrible they are. There are a lot of, he was telling me there's a lot of planned miles for chip sealing also this summer. I don't think much of that's I mean, I'm just guessing because I know the state of our roads. They require full reconstruction.
Because I noticed that they were paving, they were patching a lot on Sulphur Creek, like the edges. And
Sulphur Creek is on the list.
And they've been cutting back the brush and everything, which is what they used to do when they do the chip sealing.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if it's chip sealing they were gonna do, because pretty soon they'll start the crack sealing and all that other stuff.
Sulphur Creek to Harrington Flat to 175, that is a definite yes. They are taking advantage of the break in the weather to get all those gnarly potholes filled. That's, that's the normal winter. Hurry up, it's not raining, patch before more appear and everything multiplies and cars fall in them.
Aren't the plans on the county website? Leave it on Public Works.
The list is, yeah, I don't know, are they?
Yeah.
Okay, Jake knows.
There's plans on the, I believe, the Public Works Department website,
Okay.
and I don't want to call it a riot or stir up anything, but you can kind of see what's going to happen in your sections.
Yeah. Yeah, was there another question?
Robert.
There will be, on the Starview project, there'll be an 8-inch that comes all the way down to Cobb Boulevard and tie the two systems together so it can be fed in either direction. Then the 6-inch will go all the way to the bottom of the hill with hot fire hydrants every 500 feet,
that's great.
all the way down to Ben Hill's house right next to the meadow. So there will be, for the first time, there'll be fire protection all the way down to the road.
That's
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, and then just another update from Paul. He's very concerned about the dry weather and the wind, and so,
Clean up, take advantage of the dry weather.
but also be vigilant.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Jessica.
Oh, Jessica, congratulations on your second term. I know you were sworn in just
Yeah.
about 2 weeks
Thank
ago, right?
you.
Thank you.
All right, Chris?
Treasurer's report for, what's today? January 16th, 2025. Did I get it right?
You got it right. You get an A++.
I don't know about that.
Not even the teacher.
So at our last meeting, December meeting, we had our operating budget balance, which is not our total net assets, but our operating balance was $24,363. I'm going to round rather than do cents because this is eye-glazing enough. So $24,363 in our operating budget. We spent about $865 in the last month. And if you're interested in the specifics of what we spent the money on, it's here in the report at the front of the room. You're welcome to get a copy. Also, all of the current account balances, we've got 5 different accounts, and if you're interested in a specific account balance, you can ask me in just a moment. So we have 23,499 today in our operating budget balance. We have $48,082 in our small business loan fund. which brings us to $71,581 in net assets. Anybody have any specific questions about any of those numbers? The Emergency Preparedness Fund has $2,418. Actually, it's $2,417.62. I don't round.
Do you have a copy of that so I can include it in the minutes?
Absolutely.
Looks
Yes.
like you have some edits to do
Yeah.
before you give it to me. Okay.
Yep.
Just email it to me, please.
All right, thank you, Chris. All right, fire season update. Again, Paul Duncan is in LA amongst many of our friends. We are on to item 706, the 7:06 p.m. item, which is discuss and approve the continuance of rental of storage space for stuff that used to be in the
Hub, and we've also got all of our Blackberry Festival stuff
A lot
there.
of Blackberry Festival stuff. And we've been voting on it quarterly, and so now we think maybe we should do it annually or semi-annually instead of quarterly.
So I'm going to make a motion, and then we can open it for discussion. But the motion that I'd like to make is that we include that amount annually with the overall budget and approving the budget when we do the budget. I'm waiting to give this body a budget until we make a decision on this because it's a fairly expensive item over the course of a year, about $1,500 for the year. And just including it with our annual rent that we pay here and sort of our projections for Blackberry Festival and all the other items that we just spend money on throughout the year seems like the most reasonable.
Is to budget it for the year.
Just to budget it for the year instead of trying to vote on it every quarter. I mean, we have other items that are ongoing, so it's not an unusual thing.
So your motion,
My motion is to vote on it annually with, as just another line item in our annual budget.
seconded by Robert. Is there any discussion?
I have a question. Is the contents in there, is it something that can be used all the time? Is it something that
So,
you disperse?
so we have, so there is office furniture in there. There's a table, a beautiful table that Greg Klaus made for us, the big, yeah. And then I think there's some paper, like boxes of various forms of paperwork in there. We've also got some other storage that we've maxed out at the Loch Lomond Firehouse. We've got some chairs in there and other things. So we've got storage in two different places, but we've completely filled up the space that Paul has been kind enough to let us have for free. And then anything related to the Blackberry Festival is also there. So the cups are there, all the stuff that was used for the dinners is there. There are tables, I think, also, maybe, or maybe not. There are some tables in there. There are some like folding tables like these. So, I mean, it's all stuff that we use.
Okay, I thought it was stuff just from the hub that people were coming and getting, like, say, McLeod's and
Oh, yeah, the
all
tools.
different things like that.
The tools are in there. We haven't reopened the tool library, and that might be something that we figure out how to reopen, but it's all there. And we could do something with that tool library somewhere around here.
I think that's one of the priorities of the RCD. That was in the strategic plan, is to have, yeah. It might,
Maybe we could
They're
work
not
with them,
there.
donate it to them.
maybe, they're not quite there yet, but it was in the plan.
I mean, it's not going to clear out, I mean, that's, takes up a small amount of
Yeah.
space. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not going to reduce the space or anything like that. And of course, I mean, if there were a way to squeeze us into a smaller space for less money, I would do that, because that's how I roll. I mean, we're utilizing the space.
I mean, and ultimately, we want to reopen a hub, bring that back, but until that happens.
Yeah, I mean, we were originally we had our eye on that I mean, this is sort of a tangent, but we had our eye on that building where the park is going to be, but it's not habitable. So we're going to have to figure out something else with the hub eventually. But the material's there, and we have the stuff to populate it if we.
So you're thinking of relocating it somewhere and opening it up possibly?
If we can find a space.
Yeah, just wondered.
Yeah, and it requires two things: space and volunteers. And the volunteer power was beginning to get thin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope that answers your questions about what's there and why we decided to even get it and how much we're spending like $148. Well, it's on here. $146 a month. So.
And we can budget it now, and if something amazing happens within the year, we can always vote and redirect.
Yeah,
that.
we'll have that as
That
funds. And yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're always happy when we come in under budget. Did I hear a second?
Yeah, Robert seconded.
Oh, okay.
Are there any other thoughts or discussion? Okay, let's vote. All in favor of adding it to the annual budget as a line item?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Carried.
Excellent. Should have a budget for you next month.
Okay, we'll vote on the annual budget in February. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Committee reports. Magdalena, Firewise Communities. Is Mel was going to get for the
So
next-
this is Magdalena Valderrama, and I am the chair for the Siegler Springs Firewise community, but I'm also the community regional fire coordinator here in Cobb, and we have 7 of them, including Anderson Springs because they're adopted. We're going to be holding a planning meeting this Saturday at the Loch Lomond Fire Station. We're going to be talking about sharing our what's working, what's not working for Firewise. There's going to be a presentation on the upcoming Cobb Community Wildfire Protection Plan, which Elliot will talk about during his update. And this will include a kickoff event partnering with the North Coast Opportunities for a Disaster Preparedness event on April 19th. We already have agreement from, we've invited Supervisor Paiska to help us with that, to be present for the events that will be there, and we have quite a number of ideas already in place, so we'll be discussing that during the Firewise strategic meeting on Saturday. We're also preparing to observe the 10-year anniversary of the Valley Fire. In my conversations with with our different community partners around the county, in the Risk Reduction Authority, I brought it up, the Lake County Fire Safe Council. I've mentioned this to the South Lake Fire Safe Council to observe this anniversary with a series of events. So there'll be more conversations about that, and we're inviting everyone to take part in it because we've come a long way, and there's still plenty to do. I wanted to call everybody's attention to, I think it was in May, that Supervisor Paiska, you gave a presentation to the California Natural Resources Agency.
August.
Huh?
It was in August.
It was in August, thank you. You can see that on YouTube, and that summary is so encouraging and you know, we're a county that wasn't on the radar, and now we're exemplary. So that's worth celebrating. We're also going to be discussing the changes in the grant environment. We've been doing so much work in Lake County to build collaboration that it's also changing how we go about doing these things and how we advocate for ourselves here in Cobb. And then there will be some discussion about the AmeriCorps crews that are available to help. They're available to help until July, and if you have any question about that, please write to me or call me. My email address is magdalenavh@sscra.org. That's MAGDALENA, V as in Victor, H, SSCRA. That stands for Siegler Springs Community Redevelopment Association. Or you can call me at 415-328-0731. And then the last item that we want to include is just some discussion about leveraging Cobb Area Council support because there is some money for emergency preparedness, and we're trying to leverage. I mean, one of the things that makes Lake County work is we may not have a lot of resources like ready and lots of capacity, but we understand how to leverage with each other, and that's where we can get the strength to make these things happen. So we'll have more conversations about that.
Question?
Yes, thank you. Go ahead, Glenna.
What's the hours of the thing Saturday, and did you say all the Firewise communities?
Yes, in fact, thanks for reminding me. So that would be 9 to 10, 10:30 at the Loch Lomond Fire Station. We've asked each Firewise community to limit their participation to 3 of their committee members, because some of them are larger than others. So we want to, give equitable voice. We've invited the Noble Ranch Firewise community, because they're the only one in Middletown besides Anderson Springs, and so they're kind of out there on their lonesome. Hidden Valley got adopted by the Konocti Fire Safe Council. And then we also invited a newly forming, we hope, Firewise community in Salminas. So they're going to send their folks. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Magdalena.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Magdalena. Any other Firewise community updates? Jones Creek is still accepting any paperwork on evidence of work you did last year so that we can get renewed. See me if you have that. All right, how about the communications committee? Is Mel was going to join by Zoom?
Yeah, I just was texting with him. He should be hanging in there.
He's
All
online.
right.
Can you hear me? Yes?
We
Is that
can
a
hear
yes?
him.
You do hear me?
Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. I can't hear the back row, but thank you, everybody. Yes, that's the main news. I'm back. I've been gone 2 months, and the net's continued. 2 stellar net controllers, John and Chris, Hoburg 7 and Loch Lomond 16, kept things rolling with check-ins, and our backbone of regulars continued, mostly from what I can tell, about 30 people checking in every Wednesday. So we hope to grow that in the spring. We want to grow to 3 active repeaters on 3 different frequencies so that people can chat on the ridge and hill repeaters, which cover both sides of the mountain, Loch Lomond and Siegler on one side, all the Cobb groups on the other side will have a place to chat and keep the main channel free from chat. And we are regrouping with our committee, has not met, but once it does, we will solidify who's on that. People are welcome to visit those meetings or even consider being on the committee. Write cobbalertnet@gmail.com with any questions. I was going to be there tonight, not feeling the greatest, so we don't have radios there in the room. but there are radios available for anybody who would like a FRS radio. You don't need a license, but you can join the net with that for most areas of Cobb Mountain. And that's a short report. Unless anybody has anything to add, we will see you on Wednesdays. 6:30 is our alert check, and we do early check-ins before that and regular check-ins and announcements after that. Back to meeting control.
Thank you, Mel. Appreciate that. All right, Forest Health Committee. We'll hand over net control to Elliot.
Good evening, Elliot Hurwitz from the Cedar Springs Community Redevelopment Association. You may have noticed I have not been giving many updates in the last several months because I've been waiting to hear. We got an announcement in May that we had been awarded a grant from the Community Wildfire Defense Grant Program of the U.S. Forest Service, but then it's been, so to speak, radio silence from them in terms of trying to process all the paperwork, and so we have not really wanted to get too far out ahead of the program. But literally today at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I got a little email from our agency contact that forwarded our contract paperwork. So this is something that we're now ready to actually kick it off, and we'll start to get the word out. Literally, you're hearing it first here tonight. Just to summarize a bit, what this grant is to do is to make yes, we have a community wildfire protection plan that addresses the priorities of the entire county, but we are going to do one that is specifically focused on the Cobb Mountain community. And I want to thank Jessica talked about this, day-long meeting of all the fire folks. This has been a kind of an outgrowth to some degree of the ongoing Risk Reduction Authority. Magdalena talked about how collaborative the community is here. I don't think we would have gotten this far without the active support and endorsement of the rest of the community, letters of support and encouragement. So yeah, we really need to not just have the county plan, but communities can also go ahead and do our own plan. So we'll be kicking this off, doing the first couple months, we'll be signing contracts. We will be, a couple things that are going to be features of this is we will have a main kind of forestry consultant who's going to come and help us to really do a fine-grained analysis of the whole Cobb Mountain area forest in terms of where are the high risk areas, what are the treatments that need to happen there, what are the costs, what are the opportunities, and what are the priorities. We've been engaged the Wildland Resource Management Group to do this work. They have been, their principals were some of the people who actually designed the whole CWPP program and have done dozens of them in the region as well. So we feel like we're in really good hands with them. But what we're going to do is they're going to be looking at all the major data resources, national data sets, state CAL FIRE data sets. But then what we want to do is we're going to be in collaboration with the Cobb Area Council Forest Health Committee, and Jake and I have been talking about this. Jake is kind of the council member who is the council member on that committee. We will be fielding teams of local volunteers who will go out with tablets that will be able to actually ground truth and increase the accuracy of those data sets. So that will be a process that will take about a year altogether as we kind of build that capacity, bring the volunteers in, train them, get the tablets set, field them, and get all that data back in. Once we have the data in, we'll begin looking at, the fun part, we'll be looking at some big maps and, understanding, what the priority projects are. Of course, as you all know, we have a very kind of highly accomplished and experienced group here on Cobb Mountain, and we're going to be looking to tap all of that. I mean, our firefighters, Paul has been a major participant in this, as well as many of the other folks here who have great experience with working in the forests, and so we'll be tapping all of that together to kind of come up with a proposal for what the priority projects will be. obviously coordinating, making sure this is in sync with the county-wide CWPP as well. We've also built into the program active consultation with our tribal partners, including the Big Valley Band and Middletown Rancheria, as well as folks from Terra, who we've worked with over the past several years. Also kind of, you may recall that part of the conditions of this grant was to create a local match for this, and we brought this to the Cobb Area Council last spring, and you very generously voted to appropriate $5,000 from the Cobb Area Council funds to be part of our local, skin in the game. And I will be bringing back in February a formal MOU to the Cobb Area Council that will outline all the details of just what that entails and our collaboration. The final piece that will be an element of this plan, and I think is somewhat new, is that we'll also be looking very specifically at what will it take, or what are the opportunities to create a local workforce, our local business sector, that actually be able to do the work here. I know it's always, somewhat wistfully when you drive around here and you see a lot of the forest work and tree work being done by companies from elsewhere. We know we have capable companies here, and we'd like to find ways to support their development, and to that end, we'll be bringing another economic development consultant to work with us on that as well. I think that's going to cover it. We're going to kick it over. It's going to take 2 years to put all this together, and so I'll be bringing back reports much more regularly from here on out.
First of all, this sounds excellent, so thank you. I'm curious about, as far as an evaluation goes, like where we are now.
Right.
I've noticed some documented changes in environment and trees that, from my consideration, were over 20 years. But what I'll give an example of, and probably Robert will probably corroborate this. When I moved here 40 years ago, on Ball Rock Road, when it was rain, they would have all these nukes. I mean, they were thick, but I had to drive down the road trying to not run over them. I haven't seen one in years, so I wonder, that's...
Just so we know, our online participants can't hear anybody in the audience.
I'll repeat what he said.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Tom's asking about, whether we, just characterizing the changes in the environment here over the last several years.
Well, yeah, well, just for one example, I moved here 40 years ago, and newts were plentiful on Bottle Rock Road
Closer to the mic.
when it would rain. And not thick, but I'd weave down the road trying not to run over them, and I haven't seen one in years. I mean, that's an example of the changes I've seen, so I don't know, what they can, keep that in mind. I'm not, just as, what can we expect, if that's happening now, maybe what in the future? Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, or maybe it's not so obvious, one of the major parameters we're going to have to look at is to the future. What's the expected changes we're looking for in the climate and the environment here altogether? There have been some very specific projections made by California Forestry in terms of they really, if things proceed on the current trends, they're expecting to see something like I'm trying to remember this, I think it's something like a 70% increase in acres burned in California. I mean, even on top of what we have now. So this is, as we all know, I mean, this is what is impelling us to do this work, recognizing that there's a lot that we can do locally, there's a lot that we can do to make sure that we are prepared to make use of other resources. In fact, one of the main impetuses for doing this CWPP is that having a formal CWPP then qualifies us to actually apply for implementation funding from the U.S. Forest Service. We've started to see some other Lake County organization be able to get that. Clerk was able to get some significant funding. The RCD was able to get some significant funding because we have the county-wide CWPP. So the idea is that if we have this local CWPP, we will also be able to get more implementation funding. Dedicated implementation funding, yes, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
Great work.
Okay. Anything from the Economic Development Committee?
Yeah, just a couple of things. One item that I may need to talk to you about, Jessica, is the $48,000 that we have sitting in that bank account is not doing anything. And I know that the county has some guidelines and maybe restrictions around how money can be invested to actually generate some income. I don't know if that applies to us, and if there's some way that we can have that money not just sit and actually grow, because some of the discussions that we've been having is potentially to use that money for, so let me back up for just a second. The local area plan advisory committee has been talking about specific business and economic development things to do for Lake County 2050. And it seems like this money might be good money to help support efforts for economic development under that local area plan.
Yeah.
But having it just sit there and not grow seems a little ridiculous. So
I think you could have it added to the treasury and then managed by the tax collector.
okay, so that would be one option, right? So let me
But you would talk to Patrick about
talk to Patrick about that. Okay.
about the options. That's the easiest because there's an asset manager already.
Right, yes. Well, when I talked to the auditor last time, you put me in touch with the county auditor, and they were like, no, we don't want to do that. So,
Okay.
so
I would talk to Patrick.
I'll talk to Patrick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so I think that was the two items, really, the supporting, use those funds to support some of the economic development that the LAPAC is talking about that may dovetail with some of the economic development that the SSCRA is talking about as well. We'll see how all that pans out. And then what to do with that, how to make sure that $48,000 actually is useful for that. And if
And to
we can
benefit.
do any investment strategy, and can benefit Cobb, right?
Yeah.
It's just sitting there right now.
Yeah.
And then the Blackberry Cobbler Festival is a subcommittee of the Economic Development Committee, and I will defer to you.
Okay. My resolution this year is to not wait till July 15th to file all the paperwork for the festival. And I thought maybe I should just make sure that we want to do this. August 23rd, 2025 would be the date. It would be the Saturday prior to Labor Day weekend, has been our tradition. And I guess can I make a motion? I'm going to make a motion that we would have a Blackberry Cobbler Festival on August 23rd.
So moved.
No, we have to vote.
Oh, do we have a motion?
I motioned it.
Oh, okay, then I'll second the motion. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No.
Elliot, okay.
Is there any other discussion?
Yes. Do we have a venue nailed down?
The last time we spoke to the folks at Belmont Pines,
Belmont Pines.
that was at this meeting in September, and they were enthusiastically looking forward to this year. So at least now that we have like a date, I will go forward with making sure that's all still in the plans, I hope.
Okay. I mean,
In
the
their
thing
plans.
one of the things that was on my mind is how welcoming they're going to be of us parking on their green.
Well, as the spouse of the former greenskeeper at that site, green grass bounces back better than dead grass, so it should be just fine.
Yay! Okay.
It should be just fine. He's like, "That's fine. Drive all over it. It'll be fine. Add a little water. You're good to go."
Yeah, grass is kind of like that, isn't it?
Yes, it's resilient, like Cobb.
And the grass is
Okay.
resilient, we make sure everything else
Exactly.
is resilient.
And the grass is definitely greener over there.
For sure, it's looking so beautiful.
Oh, I do have one question.
Yes.
When would the vendor list go out to be a vendor?
That will be hopefully still run by our extraordinary vendor wrangler, Jennifer Gata. And she will again give priority to the people who were previous vendors. We'll open that up, probably not till June, That's when we did it last year. But I'll talk with her, we can put out a save the date, and so that people know it's gonna happen. Now that we have confirmed a date. Well, we haven't voted on it, but we'll vote on it in a second. Did that answer your question?
My daughter does face painting,
Oh, yeah,
so fabulous face painting.
yeah.
So, she missed out last year because it was gone and it was all so quick.
All used up. Well, that was the other thing that they mentioned, that Ashley mentioned in September. She's like, let's go bigger. We can be double the size. And I almost fell out of my chair. So, I mean, we may have more room.
Actually, I was going to bring that question. Do we have, I think it's an interesting discussion.
Mm-hmm.
How big do we want it to be?
How big do we want it to
It is an interesting discussion. I mean, one of the things that has been feedback I've heard numerous times about last year was we don't have enough food vendors, even for the people the size that we're currently attracting. So, I mean, at the very least, I think there's a good case to be made to expand the number of food vendors, because the lines were too long, and people get cranky when they don't get their food.
They get hangry.
Their festival food.
Yeah, there was a vendor who was at the West Fest, the music fest, just a few weeks prior to the festival, our festival, and he's been contacting Patrick like, I want to be on this list. I want to be a vendor. So, I mean, and it was very, very good food. So, yeah.
I think we need a face painter, though.
Yeah.
A face painter.
I think we definitely need a face painter.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe we have I don't know. We'll let you know.
I want a Ferris wheel. Anyway,
you know people, Mary.
I've wanted it for years, since the first one. That might make our insurance go up. Anyway, August 23rd. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Yay! We're gonna have another festival. Blackberry Cobbler Festival.
Is this the 5th annual?
Is it
4th.
5th?
4th or 5th?
2019?
It depends on how you're
It's 2
counting.
years. It'll be the 5th.
This will be the 5th.
This will be the 5th annual.
Yeah. Yeah, you could put a minion on that. Okay. All right. We missed 20 and we missed 21. We were set to have one in 21, but there was considerations. We said forget it. Okay. Well, I think we can adjourn unless there's any other business for the good of the order. Next meeting is February 20th. All right, let us be adjourned at 7:35, 10 minutes early.
Awesome.
And thank you, PEG TV.